You good? Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Before I call today's meeting to order, I'm going to have a presentation to Mr. Mickey Nye for the Gila House, which does an awful lot for our community. So, Mickey, if you'd like to come up, if you'd like to be part of this, Supervisor Klein and I put in on it, but if you'd like to be.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, Mickey, thank you very much for that. If you'd like to say something, you're welcome to, but what a great deal. I appreciate all you do.
While you're walking up there, I'll just tell you, we truly appreciate it. We have a board meeting this afternoon, and this is going to make a difference. We're waiting for a grant from the state, which is significant. And when we get the motel project completed, I mean, I wish we had the motel project completed months ago, even before the fires and the floods and stuff, because I have every reason to believe that those 30 rooms would be packed with people that need help.
Yes.
And I was messaging with Claudia last night. Claudia Dahlman's our director. And, you know, the state is offering money now from the governor to help people stay in their homes. I mean, and they're willing to pay mortgages, they're willing to pay utilities, cable bills, and a number of things. So we're going to start working to try to network and bring people together to save their homes or keep them from being moved out too. That's another part of one of the things that we do. So that was just announced yesterday from the governor's office, and he's got some serious resources behind it. So
Well, great.
this is a great help.
Yeah, with all the COVID and the floods and the things going on and jobs and things. Yeah, thank you very much.
Could I ask you a question? Not related. I noticed you have a Dairy Queen shirt on, so you're the owner of the Dairy Queen here?
Yeah,
Do you know the Hannigans?
I certainly do.
Yeah, I
I know
did.
Pat Milton when she was alive.
Pat Tom was in my class. I grew up in Douglas, so
Tom is still here too.
yeah. I just wanted to say that.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I will call today's regular meeting, Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021 at 10 a.m. to order. We are here at the Globe Courthouse office, and Supervisor Christensen, Supervisor Humphrey are present. Supervisor Klein is absent today. And so moving forward with this, Mr. Minlove, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? And our invocation will be given by Frank Domlin. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're indeed grateful for this beautiful day and the opportunity we have to live in this wonderful country. We ask you to be with us today and the leaders of the county and citizens that can conduct business and lead our county in the right directions and do the right business decisions. And please be with all of us in our country, that we can all be a little more thoughtful and caring about others and considerate and work together to meet the ends that we need, and ask your direction in that. And we ask you to be with all of us and keep us safe and healthy and as we leave and go about our day. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
So more to be. Thank you very much. Okay, moving along, we have a presentation, 2A, presentation of September 30th, 2021, Gila County financial data as it compares to the fiscal year 2022 Gila County budget. and fiscal year 2020 and fiscal year 2021 year-to-date performance. Marion Billingsley, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Mr. Christensen. So we typically bring this to you monthly. In the beginning of each fiscal year, we find that it's less confusing if we bring a quarter at a time, because so much of what happens in the first 3 months of the year is split between the 2 fiscal years. So what we have here on today's chart, we are looking at salaries and employee-related expenses in the first cluster of bars, operating expenses in the second cluster of bars, the 2 combined in the third cluster, and then revenue in the fourth. So our 3-month target is shown in the green bars, which is the third one over in each segment. We would expect to be 25% of the way through our budget at that point. We have 2022 in the red, 2021 in purple, and then 2020 is that greenish blue off to the far right. So for salaries and EREs, year to date at 9/30, we are at 17% of budget. Our operating expenses are 15% of budget, and our total expenditures, which also includes our encumbrances, are at 21% of budget. So all 3 of those are lower than expected for the first quarter and are lower than the previous 2 years. Our revenues, as you can see, we have 7% collected at the end of September, which compares equally to the 2 previous years, but looks like it is low compared to revenue of the 25% target, because we get our property taxes only twice a year. So you will see that number come up above where you would expect it in October and November. So we'll bring that data back when we have it. We are, for this current year, for the first quarter, we have $644,000 less revenue than the same time last year. That's attributable to property tax timing. And our expenditures are $611,000 lower than the same time last year. So where our revenue is less, our expenditures are also less, which shows that everybody is doing what they're supposed to do to be responsible with resource management and communication. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Supervisor Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Marion. The impression I get out of this is that we're doing great. We're doing fine.
That would be my overall classification of it, yes.
Great. Okay. Appreciate everything you do.
And thank you for the presentation.
You bet.
And all you do to keep us within our boundaries.
We try. I'll be back in a month with more information.
Okay. We will see you then. All right, moving right along to 3. Regular agenda items. Information, discussion, action to adopt human resource merit system rules and policies. Policy NOS BOS-HRS-001 through BOS-HRS-016. The merit system rule 1 through 13, which will repeal and replace all previous adopted BOS HRS policies and merit system rules. Mr. Rick Husk, who is not here. Was he aware he was on the agenda today? Do we have someone else? Okay, what I may do is go to, if it's okay with Marion, just go to B and skip this and give him a minute to appear. Okay. Or Mr. Minlove, are you?
Yes.
Are you okay? Are you going to present 3A or okay?
Yes.
Then we won't move on. We will stay with 3A, and Mr. Minlove will be the presenter of it today.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman, Supervisor Christensen. Beautiful morning. We have one of the first things that the Board of Supervisors directed me as county manager 4 years ago was that we needed to improve our policies. We needed to adopt new policies. And this one kind of lagged behind. Human resources policies and merit rules lagged behind for a number of years due to different reasons, different circumstances. When we had our temporary Mr. Alan Balsami here with the county, he was charged with creating new policies. So he had done that. He was here for 6 months, spent a great majority of his time in rewriting the policies in merit system. And if I get this right, he left some as policies. Policies are the hiring and the departure and things like that. The merit rules are behavior while you're employed with the county. So those are presented to you at this time. We had talked to one of the attorneys that works with our Arizona County's Assurance Pool and had him go through our former policies and merit rules. And I'll give you a chance in just a second, Rick. And the attorney that looked at that, one represents ASIP, so they were very competent and very able with personnel law, said that there were significant contradictory statements within the policies that we had, and so we had recommended that they be rewritten. He recommended they be rewritten, and we have done that. We've passed this out to department directors and elected officials, received comments back from that. We've received comments back from the attorney, Mr. Jellison, and have had an opportunity for 2-3 weeks for a final review of the comments that have been made previously, have all been built into the HR policies, and so it is presented to you today for your consideration of taking action on this. And this would take all of the former policies, procedures, and just, it would nullify or delete those so that they're not on our books anymore.
Okay.
And they're deleted. And Mr. Chairman, if, go
Yes.
ahead and make comments, but if Mr. Husk has some comments.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. Good morning, Mr. Hus. Yeah, if you'd like to come up, yeah, no, that's okay. We were gonna skip you and give you a minute to get here, and Mr. Minlove stood up.
I was
and-
just
and kinda-
packaging things last minute for you
Oh,
all and preparing a
believe me,
glossary, and
I very much understand how that goes.
I thank you, Mr. Minlove, for covering for me there.
Yeah,
So appreciate it.
Okay, if you would like to go on with your presentation, we'd love to hear it.
Thank you. Julie's passing out what is not being adopted, and that's the admin procedures, and they will be a side note to the policies you're adopting and the rules and the policies, and they will be how the policies are basically enacted by HR, and so the procedures will fluctuate and they can be modified. So I wanted to go through the rules, procedures, and policies with you to show how they've been, what's been varied since Mr. Balsami created the red line version that you were first prepared. I provided another set a few weeks ago, and to show where we were at. A few things have been modified even since then, so this is the final version. So,
Okay.
Going first to the rules, I have. I'll point out Rule 1.19. The definition that was provided to me to work with was certified law enforcement officer, and I made a modification to comply with statute, how it's defined in statute, and to vary from just the sheriff's office being the law enforcement officers that the county employs, because currently there's certified peace officers employed by the county attorney's office. I could see a need in the future that there might be a need for court security needing law enforcement officers, so I wanted to write something a little more broadly, and so that's what Rule 1.19 encompasses. Going from there, the next change I made was to the performance policies or process and procedures, excuse me. The performance appraisals remain the same, and that's Rule 9.1. What we have done in conjunction with our direction from administration is change the review process so that the Human Resource Department is not telling elected officials, directors and department heads, and my superiors how to perform their appraisals. So we will not be approving them. We will simply be receiving them, the appraisals, and signing off that they've been completed. And so with that, we will also be informing elected officials, department heads, and the other appraisers to utilize the format that's been provided in the instructions so that this can be used as intended to distinguish between higher performance employees versus others when merit raises might be available. Okay, so that change simply changed the procedure in which they're done and the routing from the appraisers to HR. The next change that was made was grievance and appeal procedures, and that's page 4 of grievance and that's Rule 12, page 4. And I basically, through Jim Jellison, retained counsel for the county on different matters, has reviewed these with us and provided some insight, and did believe that it was his position, and I concur with that, that the Merit Commission, in doing an appeal hearing, should also make its own determination as far as jurisdiction. Previous policy was the HR director, along with the basic county attorney representative, would make that determination that there was jurisdiction, but it's also important to be on the record that the Merit Commission itself determined that this was an employee. The incidents that they're governing over or ruling over occurred in Gila County, and therefore they're accepting jurisdiction of that hearing. So that was the other change made to the rules. And then I'll go on to the actual human resource policies and go through the very few changes that were made there to what you were given previously. And the first one is policy BOS HRS 11, and that's page 3 of 3. And there was a alternative work schedule that was provided to allow a flexible schedule for the sheriff's office, or a divided weekly schedule, so that it decreased the amount of overtime that the sheriff would need to pay for detention officers, sheriff's deputies, etc. Having spoken with the sheriff and staff, it was determined that this would not be a good time to take away overtime, which may be one of the few incentives they receive. And so we took that off, and we're going to review that for a future time, and perhaps when it's less problematic to hire staff, that might be a change that we would want to make. And so that was the only thing deleted from that portion of the policies. And the final change that was made was as to computing use and ethics. There was some discussion about removing this because BOS admin Rule 2 has the entirety of policies for computer use and ethics. However, those are a separate set of policies, and without them being covered in the merit rules, I don't think there's any enforcement ability. So I inserted the basic policy that we had, but I did insert on the bottom of that, rather than having a separate procedure for enforcement, that computing and communication technology use and ethics procedures are set forth in BOS admin Rule 2, so that the admin procedure for that and the policy already set forth in the computer use and ethics admin policy would be enforced, as opposed to setting a separate rule. So that's all I have. I have attached the admin procedures. They are numbered in accordance with the policy that they apply to. So there's a glossary that was provided by Julie that sets forth rules 1 through 13, BOS HRS policies 1 through 16, and admin policies 1 through 15. The admin policies skip 4 and 5, 7 and 8, 10 through 13, because there is no admin policies for those, but I did want to make the corresponding rules applicable to the appropriate policy. And that's all I have. If there's any question, I'm happy to take them.
That's all. That's quite a bit.
I apologize. Yes.
Don't
I have
don't-
trouble gaining an audience, so I'm going to stay as long as I can.
Yeah, please don't apologize. Supervisor Christensen, do you have questions, comments?
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Mr. Huss. Could you repeat that?
Sure. Where would you like me to begin?
No, I think it was a month ago or approximately that. We went and had a work session on this, and so that's when I asked all my questions. So this is just the accumulation, the final draft.
It is.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I thank you very, very much.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you.
Have
for the
a
time.
have a great day.
Apologize for the delay.
Not a problem. Okay, if there's no further questions, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt Human Resources Merit System rules and policies number BOS-HRS-001 through BOS-HRS-016 and Merit System rules 1 through 13 as presented.
I'll second it. Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item was approved. Thank you very, very much. Okay, moving on to 3B, information discussion action to authorize the Health and Emergency Management Department to submit grant application number RFGA 2022-02 Youth Council in the amount of $250,000 in the Arizona Department of Health Services to establish 2 youth councils, one each in southern and northern Gila County, of which the funds will be provided $25,000 per youth council per year for 5 years. Good morning, Mr. O'Driscoll.
Good morning, Chairman, Supervisor Christensen. So the next 2 items relate to some of the things that we're seeing in Gila County with the youth. In Gila County, we're still lead the state in teen pregnancy. We're number 1 in the state, and we also are seeing an increase in opioid abuse, drug abuse, substance abuse, and an increase across the state directly related to COVID and the lockdown is suicide rates. So I met with my team, and we really sort of need to think about doing things a little bit differently, because teen pregnancy, we've led the state the last 4 or 5 years, and we don't seem to be making quite an impact on that as well. So the next 2 items relate to trying to do things differently in Gila County to see if we can meet better outcomes for some of those issues I just talked about. In this particular grant, this is to set up youth councils, one up in Payson and one down in Globe. Currently, we have a couple youth councils, one in Payson, one in Globe, dealing with high school kids and tobacco use. And we have seen a reduction in tobacco use across the state of Arizona over the last 10 years. And those youth councils have really helped us get into the schools to talk about the health effects and impacts of tobacco use and now vaping. So this particular grant will allow us funding to set up an additional youth council in Globe and Payson with the teenagers to do things a little bit differently. With this funding and this type of youth council, get in directly, have the youths come to us. This funding will provide an office space or renting a space, those kinds of things, to meet with us directly and actually have one-on-one conversations with the youth to find out what's going on. Is it family issues that's causing trauma? Is it what's going on in the schools that they're seeing that maybe we can help out, try to attack some of the teen pregnancy and substance abuse issues a little bit differently. So that's what this is. 2 youth councils, one up in Payson, one down in Globe, to see if we can't communicate a little bit differently to the youth to see if we can make an impact in that, population. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Christians.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. The youth council then, how's that going to function? You said maybe you're going to rent a space. Are you currently using the probation office in Payson for this tobacco one? Is this something that you would function at the school system or in the school system, or
So
how would it?
Yeah, so this funding it's a great question, because this funding, if approved, will the option of the, the teen centers is perfect. It's a good relationship, and I have yet to approach Mr. Lassard about that yet, because we don't know if we're going to get this funding. Those kinds of things, absolutely. If the group of students want to meet in our office in Payson or in Globe, we'll be happy to. Down here in Globe, we have moved our entire prevention staff to a miniature teen center over there by the Tractor Supply off of Route 60. So that's going to be where down here we're going to meet with the youth and things like that. So all of those options are on the table, absolutely.
Okay, so if funded, then you would communicate. You got to get the message to the teenagers, which are going to be at schools.
Correct.
And
currently we are in the schools, so we have a great relationship with the superintendents and the principals. So currently we are in the schools. So it's just a matter of trying to establish a different type of communication with the youths. Instead of in a school setting, take them out of the school setting and see if they have different views.
Okay.
You know?
Thank you.
You bet.
I just have a question. With teens and teen councils, I was just wondering who or what will be overseeing these teen councils to help guide them in direction and different conversation and things of that nature.
Sure. So we have on our prevention staff, this funding will pay a portion of the salary of 2 of the staff, and therefore they will oversee all the meetings, the minutes of the meetings, the reporting to the state, all that's required of this grant. So we will have 2 dedicated staff that will oversee and manage and coordinate all of these.
Okay. I thank you very much
you're
for
welcome,
all
sir.
you reach for and try to help us with. So if there's no further questions, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to authorize the submittal of grant application number RFGA 2022-02 to the Arizona Department of Health Services as presented.
And I'll second that. Having a motion and second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item was approved. Thank you
sir.
very much. And on to the second one. C3, information discussion action to authorize the Health and Emergency Management Department to submit grant application number RFGA 2022-005, Teen Pregnancy Prevention Personal Responsibility Education Program to the Arizona Department of Health Services in the amount of $100,000 for the period beginning October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2026. Again, Mr. O'Driscoll.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Supervisor Christensen. So this particular grant, if we receive this, is going to be rolled into the previous grant and utilize the youth councils for this as well. We are in the schools talking about teen pregnancy and the impacts, social impacts that teen pregnancy has, in particular the young mother. Studies show that 90% of teen pregnant mothers end up with no high school degree, no college degree, and a very low-paying job for their entire lives. So what we're trying to do is attack this problem a little differently. So we drop from number 1 to at least number 2 or 3 in the state as far as the number of teen pregnancy births we have in this county. So this is trying to attack it a little differently, roll this into the youth groups, one up in Payson, one down in Globe, because what we're seeing in Gila County is about a 50% split with teen pregnancies now, about 50% down in Globe, about 50% up in the Payson area. So we have a countywide issue here. And this is to try and communicate to the teens in a little different way to see if they can't, get that message out to their friends and let them know what they learn when we talk about teen pregnancy and the issues surrounding teen pregnancies. And so that's what this grant application. And I say it's up to $100,000. That's what we're planning on. It possibly could be more if there's fewer counties that apply for this pot of money. That $100,000 might actually increase a little bit. But when we find that out, obviously we'll come back in front of the board and do another presentation for that. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Michael. Supervisor Christensen.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, that's a statistic that we don't want, number one in the state.
Yeah.
What kind of a number does that represent, though? I mean, how many teen pregnancies does Gila County have in a year?
So when they, I don't have the total Pierce total. I can get that to you, and I'll send that to you later today in an email. However, when they calculate this, they calculate the number of population compared to the number of teens getting pregnant. So we
Okay.
have the highest rate of percentage
rate.
of teen population
Okay.
compared to the other. Even the other rural counties, we're outpacing them as well. So.
And so to qualify for being a teen and pregnant, that would mean an unmarried situation? I mean, that's what you're dealing with, unmarried, unexpected sort of thing?
Correct.
And so does this program involve anything like providing contraceptives or anything like that, or is this just an education?
This is an abstinence-only program, so it does not involve contraception.
So it's an abstinence program.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Michael.
Oh, you betcha, son.
And I have no questions. So I will call for a motion.
Yes, sir. I will make the motion to authorize the submittal of grant application number RFGA 2022-005 to the Arizona Department of Health Services as presented.
And I'll second that motion. And having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item was approved.
Great. Thank you very much.
You notice we're not trading off today. You get all the motions today.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you'd like, I'll give you one.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good. All right. Moving on to regular agenda item D. Information discussion action to approve amendment number 4 to an intergovernmental agreement contract number DI 20002263 between the Arizona Department of Economic Security and the Gila County Community Service Department to increase the value of the itemized service budget to $828,580.94 for the period of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022 for the continued provision of Community Action Program services. Lisa Wilkinson.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman Humphrey and Supervisor Christensen. This is amendment number 4 to an already existing contract through DES.
We're going to get you to where, yeah. We need to hear you.
Okay. Okay. This is an amendment number 4 to an already existing DES contract. This is adding funding for dislocated workers and a carryover funding from the American Rescue Plan. With the funding with dislocated workers, we will be getting 2 full-time positions, one located in Globe and one located in Payson. If you have any questions, thank you.
Okay, Supervisor Christensen.
Well, I guess I do. Thank you, Lisa. I don't, I guess, understand what we're asking for. Is this added to a grant?
Yes.
Okay.
It's an amendment number 4, yeah.
Yes, and it's going to add a couple employees that,
Yes.
okay. And, okay, I think that's it. Thanks.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Minlop.
Supervisor Christensen, the previous grant was $566,680, increasing it to $828,580.94. So there's an increase with this amendment of $261,994.
Okay.
94 cents.
And this is one that's provided, or this is one we're asking for?
They
The
already
increase.
provided the funding. They increased the funding.
They already did. God love them.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. If there's no further questions, I'll call for a motion.
Certainly, I move to approve the amendment number 4 to the intergovernmental agreement, contract number DI 20002263 with the Arizona Department of Economic Security as presented.
I'll second that motion. And having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item was approved. Thank you very much. Moving on to 3E. Information discussion action to authorize the advertisement of request for proposal number 100521, landscaping services for Gila Proud Highway 60 cleanup and maintenance project. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm very happy to have this before you at last. As if you remember, this project was approved in February, and we have community support from the hospital and different companies that have already sent in their support. So the funding is there, but we advertised for someone to come and work for the county to do this work, and didn't find any that were approved, any applicants. And so now we're putting out an RFP so that they will take over they'll do everything. They'll do the managing, the landscaping services, their equipment will be used, and it will be overseen, the project will be overseen by someone in Public Works. So we just need an approval for this RFP.
Okay, Supervisor Christensen, questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, so we'll put out RFPs, and do we have, is this coming out of our general fund then? Is that how we're paying for this?
Yes, I believe so. We're part of it.
There's
Okay.
partners, I
Thank you.
believe.
It's a partnership.
Yeah, it's a partner thing.
Yeah.
So we have set up.
Okay, wait, yeah.
So, sorry. We have set up the budget so that this is all funded through our community partners, and there is a separate line item in the budget for Gila Proud. So you're not competing with other county projects for this.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question. Thank you.
Okay, so this will be, to put out an RFI for a subcontractor to keep that clean.
Yeah.
And there is a scope of work that will be required from them
Yes.
that will be overseen by Public Works.
Correct.
Okay, I'd like to see that scope of work at some point in time.
Okay.
Not necessarily today, but I'd like to see what.
I can send it right over to you. Yeah,
Okay.
it's attached to this.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, I'll get it to you though.
Okay, I thank you very much.
Thank you.
So if there's no further questions, I'll call
Chairman.
from. Oh, yes, we do have a comment. Mr. Minlove, go ahead. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. This originally started from the Cobra Valley Regional Medical Center with Neil Jensen, and it's the intent to clean up brush and weeds and all along the highway from the west end of Miami to the east end of Globe, and a continuous process to keep it going all along the way. We had a meeting with a bunch of potential partners here a number of months ago, and there's so much support for this that within a matter of reviewing the project and what it was and what the scope was going to be, that there was well over $100,000 in commitments from all these organizations to cover the expenses of this for at least the first year. And if we're successful and get it going and have a good response to the RFP, then I'm sure it'll keep on going. And that's just the main highway corridor cleanup.
Okay, thank you very much. If there's no further comments or questions. Anybody on YouTube? No? Okay. If there's no further questions or comments, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I will move to authorize the advertisement for the request for proposal number 100521.
And I'll second that. Having a motion second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item was approved. Amy, thank you for so much work on this, and it's sad when we got to sub it out.
Thank you. I'm staying it for the next one. That's why I'm still standing.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to 3F, information discussion action to authorize the advertisement of request for proposal number 100422021, Copper Corridor Blight Buster Brownsfield Coalition Assessment Grant Consultant. Mayor Springer, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Christensen. I would like to tell you that this is kind of a labor of love between Kathy Melvin, Amy Staton, and the Copper Corridor Blightbusters. And they received the grant award notice back in May that they've got the $600,000. And it's a very detailed grant through ADEQ, I believe. And there's a lot of, I'll call them hoops to jump through. There's a lot of assessment work. There's a lot of detailed reports that have to be prepared, that all these things the grant requires to be done. We do not have the expertise in-house to do this. And so this RFP is looking for a consultant that will do all those requirements of that grant, all the sampling, all the assessments, all the documentation. So that way that when we spend that $600,000, we do it appropriately and we report it out appropriately. And this is the Copper Corridor, so it's Superior, Hayden, Miami, Globe areas. And they've already identified some of the properties that need these assessments and the work plan and all that. So this will be the main consultant that will be doing the work, working with the Copper Corridor Blight Busters. And if you have any additional questions, I definitely have the right ladies in the room that can answer those.
Cool. She's going to get up to the mic, I'm sure. Mr. Christensen, do you have questions?
Yeah, thank you. Just a simple question. So this money would be spent to improve appearances, or would it be to improve hazardous waste? What's the primary function?
Okay, so as you know, there are many buildings in the Copper Corridor that are considered blight. And what this particular grant is doing is going and assessing them for asbestos and lead contamination. So that's phase 1 and phase 2. So we want 36 phase 1s, and that's going to go and look at them and say, yes, there's contamination. Phase 2 will go in there and actually take a sample and put it through a lab to confirm that there's contamination. But then after that, then we want plans on how to best rehabilitate. And so this grant will cover quite a few of those things. Now, this is an EPA grant from the federal government.
Okay.
After that, once this is done, and it's kind of a long process to get this done, but it has to be done. After that, ADEQ has other grants that will allow us to go in and rehab and actually do something to the building so that they can be used by the public, by the community for business, and et cetera.
Okay, so I understand that. Now, who owns these buildings? Is it the mining companies that own them, or a variety?
It's all over. There's individuals. There's one individual that owns a bunch of the buildings, and then there's other companies, corporations, families, and they're basically sitting there rotting because they're expensive to rehab. And so if we can get these assessments done, then we can move to the next step of potentially bringing some of these back to life.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so on the Brownsfield grant, so the target is abandoned buildings? Is that the target for this grant?
Blighted buildings. So
Blighted.
not all of, I guess they would look like abandoned buildings.
Okay.
And some of them are, but the blighted buildings.
Okay, yeah, because I was wondering about the targeted buildings, because when I was with the IDA, we got one for abandoned gas stations on US 60. And if you notice, there's still abandoned gas stations, because what we ran into is the property owners, even if it's free, they didn't want the assessment because they were afraid that, okay, once you find asbestos in their building, then they're liable to clean it up. And if the grant doesn't go as said, or phase 2 doesn't kick in, they didn't want to be liable for the government knowing that they had a building that that was capable for a Brownsfield grant. So
And I understand that there is that sentiment out there.
yeah, so I support the efforts a million %. I really do. I mean, I've tried it. It's just, I hope that a lot of the property owners see the value in what you're trying to do for them, rather than taking it that they're going to be forced to put a lot of money into the property that they can't sell now. And if it comes up that it's got asbestos or lead, then they really aren't going to be able to sell it. So that's just something I ran into. I love the program, Kathy. I'm behind you 1,000,000% for you guys with your motel down in Hayden. That was a fantastic job, and that needs to be put forward, in my opinion, to some of these property owners, the successes that have happened, not the doubt within them. Because the Tempe marketplace used to be chop shops and landfills, and that's all cleaned up, and it's a beautiful place now, but it wasn't. So my hat's off to you 100%. I wish you all the luck in the world. I would just go forward with as much positive energy and successful programs as I could
If I may.
when you approach these property owners.
I have one more. We are going to be taking the work that was done with that grant and trying to go the step further so that they can get funding to,
Yes.
it's not going to come out of their own pocket, all of
Yes,
it.
yes.
So hopefully that will help.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was just saying, I support you 100%. Just go forward with as much positive projects that Brown Phil has done to help these property owners realize that it's good for them. Okay, if there's no further questions or comments, I will call for motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to authorize the advertisement of request for proposal number 1004-2021.
And I'll second that motion. Having a motion and second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item was approved. Amy, thank you for everything. Kathy, thank you all. Okay, moving on to 4 consent agenda action items. Any matter on the consent agenda will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed and voted upon as a regular agenda item upon the request of any member of the Board of Supervisors. Supervisor Christensen, is there anything you care to take off of the consent agenda and put on a regular agenda item?
No, sir.
And I don't as well, so I will call for a motion to accept consent agenda items A through J.
So moved.
Having a motion second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda items were approved. Moving on. Call to the public. Do we have any public that would wish to address the board in Payson today?
No, sir.
Do we have anyone on YouTube who would care to comment to the Board of Supervisors today? Okay. And I see no one here for call to the public. All right. Moving on to 6. At any time during the meeting pursuant to ARS 38-431.02K, members of the Board of Supervisors and the county manager may present a brief summary of current events. No action may be taken on the information presented. Mr. Minlove.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a few items today. On Thursday, October 21st, the Arizona Innovation Marketing Association held their annual banquet for their TIM Awards. Gila County's Discover Gila County was recognized for nonprofit website in the category of nonprofit website. That's a great organizations are looking for new things, of ways to present things through social media and through the internet. So that's a very important designation or recognition from the Arizona Innovation Marketing Association. On October 27th through 29th, Sherry and I were in Flagstaff for the Arizona Association for Economic Development at their 2021 Fall Forum. The title of that forum was Unmuted, United, and Unstoppable. Gila County was again recognized for Discover Gila County, received a Golden Prospector Award, so that's the top award for any one category. And that is, Discover Gila County was recognized as a Golden Prospector, the top one for best website in all of Arizona. Also received a recognition of a multimedia promotion. through all the different multimedia, through our website, and social media, that as recognition for that and our ability to get that out on multiple ways. On November 12th, so next week, the Arizona Association of Cities and Counties is having their 2021 City County Summit. They'll have their awards there, which again, Discover Gila County will be recognized at that. That event is being held in Phoenix. And then in January, the Arizona Game and Fish Department is having a annual recognition, and Gila County will be recognized for Discover Gila County as the Partner of the Year. Now, from what I understand from the Arizona Game and Fish Department, this award has never been given to a government entity. And so this is a groundbreaking thing for Game and Fish, Arizona Game and Fish, to recognize Gila County as a partner with them to help them, Arizona Game and Fish, carry out their message and the things that they want to do to get people out in nature, enjoy Arizona as it's meant to be, and particularly, hopefully, enjoy Gila County. So those number of recognitions that we're receiving for Discover Gila County, and at the Arizona Association for Economic Development, they had some different entities that were promoting things, and one was Discover Flagstaff. So they've I don't know that we got permission to steal what we've got, but they've got a logo here. It looks very similar to Gila County's logo for Explore the Wild and Discover Flagstaff. So I have to say that imitation is the greatest form of flattery, and Flagstaff has certainly logged in and taken full advantage of that. There's another one that's Pledge for the Wild that is similar to Gila County's as well. So great thing that the Board of Supervisors has done that has, during the COVID, it saved us financially, and it increased our revenues actually, where the state and other counties had revenues that decreased significantly. Gila County's grew because of, in large part, Discover Gila County, because it was a recreation, tourism type of revenues that did increase. So I thank the Board of Supervisors for having the foresight to support this. And it is, by the revenues we received, it is more, however many times, 3, 4, or 5 times over paid for itself to what we invest in that program each year. So I appreciate your support. Also, I wanted to point out that on November 10th, we are having a tour of the Pleasant Valley Veterans Retreat admin site. And what that will entail is taking people from IT, from facilities. We're trying to get a scope of work of things that need to be done, so that now that we have the lease all signed and it's been signed over to the county for a 20-year lease, that we can invest in that property. The intent is for us to have that property up and running, able to provide services for veterans retreats, where they can receive job training, education, receive counseling, psychological evaluations, financial tutoring, and all kinds of different things for veterans that we can have a retreat. There's one other such retreat in Arizona. It's down southeast of Tucson, and so this would be the only other one. There are, we intend to use American Rescue Plan monies, so the ARPA monies, that we will intend to use to refurbish some of the buildings we have, perhaps remodel and put a coat of paint on the barracks and different things like that. So it's an exciting thing that we can be able to provide that service and have that facility to provide to veterans that have provided so much service to us and our country. Miss Melvin may have a comment if because she's been working with Supervisor Klein on this for 4.5 years. That is progressing. We hope to line out, put out an RFP in the near future and get this work done during the winter so that we can next spring have this open and at least start having events and show that the Forest Service, that Gila County is responsive to having that lease been granted to us and that we are going to put the effort, the work into it so that we can service veterans as we've promised. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Can I add one more thing? I'm sorry. Not enough.
Go right ahead.
I'm taking
Go
over
right
for
ahead.
Supervisor
I wasn't going
Klein.
to say, can you keep this to 3 minutes, please? No. Go
Well,
ahead.
I get 6 minutes. I'll take over for Supervisor Klein.
Go ahead.
Representative Cook has a commission of 5 legislators that have been going around to different communities and is taking these legislators, and there's different groups that go with them, might be the Sierra Club and different things like that, of trying to analyze and get into the roots of the fires and the way fires are being treated, where fires are being handled by the Forest Service, and how counties are responding to that, communities are responding to the fires, and then the post-flooding. So we have met with, as an admin team, and selected Carl Melford he'll be preparing a short presentation to give to Representative Cook and the other 4 legislators and other people that may be in the panel, not necessarily in the panel, but in the room. And he will be able to have a discussion, present what Gila County, the things that we have done to respond to the flooding and the fires. And it has been significant. So I might say one more thing about the fires, that we did get the NRCS monies. It's total of like $11.5 million of projects. There's a 25% match, so we're getting $8 million from NRCS, National Resource Conservation. And then the state, through their fire mitigation, flood mitigation monies that were appropriated, are going to cover that 25%. So we'll have $11.5 to $12 million for working a lot on the drainages up here south of Globe. So including Bloody Tank Squash and the other ones we have here. So a lot of good stuff going on. And that would be it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, moving on.
I didn't see that. That's probably a good thing.
That's okay. I was just being sure before I moved on. Okay, Supervisor Christensen, do you have anything for us today?
Thank you. If I can get through this. By the way, imitation may be flattering, but it's also liable when it comes to logos. So Cameron Davis has done a great job on our website, and that website's received 4 different awards, counting the one you were mentioning. And that's great. So what I am planning on doing is December 4th, I think it is, we have the Electric Light Parade annually in Payson. So I plan on entering into that and decorating one of my vehicles and promoting the Discover Gila. Okay, so I'm getting a bunch of stickers together. Jackie's helping me with that. I'm going to hand them out, and we're going to decorate my truck up with Discover Gila. So to kind of promote that. So just, yeah. This coming Saturday, I'll be at Brownsville. Lori Brown, Carrie Lake, and Paul Gosar will be there, and I'll probably be there for the barbecue. It's always good. This last week, met with some people that wanted to form a DWID, so I learned a little bit about that and how that works. And also Manny Bowler from ADEQ. I think she's met with both of the other supervisors regarding what she's doing at ADEQ, and so we had a good discussion there. And among a few other things, but that's really all I have to report of what's been going on in Payson. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's great to hear and to see Discover Gila County doing so well. We started this back when I was on the Industrial Development Authority and presented it to the Board of Supervisors at that time, and it was great just to end up being a supervisor and having the support of Supervisor Martin and Supervisor Klein to get this thing going and to watch it grow. It's just fantastic to me. They say government moves slow. We started this like eight years ago or something like that. So if patience and persistence does anything, it's great to see something like that go. And yeah, Jessica, you could look into their logos and see how much they appreciate it. Maybe we could even put some more money into Discover Gila County. And I was wondering, at some point in time, are they going to need a maintenance person up at that facility in Young? I think that'd be a great retirement job for me at some point in time.
Mr. Chairman, we are having that discussion.
I'm not in a hurry to retire, but it's a fantastic facility, and I couldn't imagine just being the maintenance, waking up every day to being the maintenance person there. But anyway, I've been busy. I was on KQSS radio on the 19th at 5:30 p.m. and do that once a month. Attended after the fire meeting. Was on Kiko on the 28th from at 9:40. I'm on Kiko every week on Thursday, 9:40. Attended a CORP meeting. I'll hold a Tonto Basin meeting this evening at 5, public meeting. And then I'll hold a Roosevelt public meeting on the 8th at 1 o'clock. I like these public meetings. It's amazing what comes out of them within the community. You get that many people together in a room and things happen that the county has nothing to do with. So it's great to see that. And then the Forest Service and the Sheriff's Office and everybody else start using that platform for their ability to come and present to the public. So they end up being pretty good meetings after a while. I will attend the House Force and Wildlife Fire Management and meeting with David Cook. I think what he's doing is great, and I do believe that the Forest Service needs to change their theory and promotion of fire. And so if that didn't spark anything for anyone else, I will adjourn today's meeting. Thank you all. How many do we have on YouTube today? At our highest, we have 18. 18, great. We have people showing up, and thank you very much for being on YouTube and joining our meeting. And you are able to comment on YouTube if you'd like. Just type it in, and we'll have somebody present it. And so I appreciate it very much, and we are out of here for today. Thank you.
Thank you.